So for today's webinar, we'll be focusing on IR 4.0 and how it's going to impact on chemical engineering the field. So as you can see from our poster, it's accelerating growth in data science and AI for chemical engineering. So we are pushing forward to to modernize and also revolutionize our industry and how we can evolve from our current state. So both our speakers for tonight will be Mr. Akmal Hisham Azman, as well as Mr. Azhar bin Abdul Halim. So without wasting any more time, I would like to welcome Ms. Husna from Center of Applied Data Science to initiate our webinar for tonight.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Hussein, for very welcoming speech just now. Thank you very much. Okay, I can't see any of you because this is a webinar setting. The only way that I can sense your energy is if you go and comment in the chat section right now. Can you just let me know what year are you guys in? Are you guys still in university, or are you guys an alumni? Because I saw Kari said he is an alumni. Hello, Kari, welcome back. All right. So we are very happy to be here with all of you. I can E. Is that how you pronounce it? Right? I pronounce it right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, I am Husna. Usually people call me Husna Chantik for whatever reason. Okay, whatever it is. Tonight I'll be the moderator for tonight. Okay, so if you have any comment section or anything that you want to share with us, just put it in the chat section below. Okay, that's the only way that I can sense your energy right here, right now. Fantastic. So we have Azhar, year 2 graduate in 2008. Azhar is a panelist here. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to talk about IR 4.0 and its impact on chemical engineering, right? And we want to talk about this, but of course you want to know who CADS is first. Tak kenal, maka tak cinta. If you don't know us, then you wouldn't be able to love us, right? So I wouldn't want to waste so much time. I would love to invite Marina from our team to talk more and introduce a little bit more what CAD does here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So basically, okay, my name is Marina. So basically, I'm just going to go through who we are so that the presenters are from CADS, and at least you know the history or background of the company. So basically, CADS is an AI tech solution company. What we do is we help enterprises or companies maximize business potential by becoming data-driven organization through data-literate workforce. What we meant by data-driven organization is companies that are already transformed or are planning to be transformed towards more towards data science or data literate. So our vision is to future-proof the world by improving data literacy as an economy for the workforce, and our mission to accelerate companies' journey. So basically, when they move towards data-driven, most of their they will plan their staff, all to be data literate, to become more relevant with IR 4.0. And as you know, post-COVID, most companies are now, are going digitalized, and most companies are now transitioning themselves and wanting to know those companies who are not data-driven, they are now moving towards data-driven. So that's why we are assisting companies and also talents, including yourself, to become more data literate. Okay, so now we're talking about basically with experience in supporting the development of Malaysia's digital economy. We basically remain committed to support and ensure the digital leap in taking place among organizations in Singapore and ASEAN. So we have been around basically since 2014. We were founded by our CEO, Sharala. And throughout 2014 and up until now, you can see the journey there, which I am not going to go into detail, but you need to understand that our main focus is to become the pioneer in data science. So what we do now is even when you meet other companies for your interviews or organizations, they would know CADS. We are quite well known, to assist companies to infuse data analytics in their organization, in their roadmap, or to upskill their talents. So next. Okay, so when we're talking about market presence, our HQ is in Singapore, but our operation center is located in KL, in Bangsa South. So we are in all these 6 countries. If you're talking about organizations supported by CADS, we have more than 100 companies supported by CADS in their digital agenda over the years, since 2014. And we have more than 6,000 individuals impacted by CADS through our platform program. So it's not that we just have upskilling, but we also have, webinar or sharing session. So next, sorry, Sian, thanks. So when we're talking about our business, I mentioned earlier that, we assist companies and we basically accelerate organizations toward data-driven. So we do have these 3 things, the main 3 things in our business. So we do have AI technology solution, but I'm not going to go into detail because I think Husna towards the end, she will cover that part. We do have CADS AI, Celtic and Rubik. Rubik is more related to all of you because it's a data professional network platform whereby we do have some programs that you can maybe continue your journey after you graduate, maybe continue your journey and basically upskill yourself to be more relevant in the industry now. So we also have learning pathways. We have all these 6, it's not just, all these 5 learning journey or programs. We actually have more than that. We do sometimes have a customized ones that maybe you or companies would want us to customize some programs, but these are the main 5 programs that we normally, train and upskill workforce in the area of data literacy. So we have EDP, AEDA, EDA, EDS, and EDE. I wouldn't go into detail of all the modules because I think the most relevant to all of you is the professional placement or Data Star. We have started Data Star quite some time ago, and I think now we have about 500-600 alumni. So Data Star is actually a program that fast-track the development of data professionals. It's basically a finishing school. We have ongoing now a sponsored program, Data Star program, whereby our minimum criteria is degree. You can also have masters and PhD to take the assessment and join our Data Star program. Next. Okay, so when we talk about CADS AI ecosystem, we do have a complete ecosystem. And we have, if you're looking at 3 aspects here, we have enterprises, we have individuals, which is more related to you, and we have partners. So basically, when we are talking about enterprises, if say, an example, a company were to approach us and say, hey, I know about, data science and the importance of data science now, but where do I start? So what we do is we will assist these companies, or we will, hand holding the company and work with them and check their data-driven organization maturity, because sometimes a company could be matured enough when you're talking about data-driven, but some companies, they are very conservative or haven't started anything. Then we'll do the we will assess the company, in terms of their data-driven and to look at where they are now and where they should be in the future. And the next one is the external marketplace, skills inventory, CADS skill certification and assessment. This is where we will look at the workers or the staff, the gap of their data literacy, whether they do have the basic or they don't have the basic, whereby they should start from, the earlier track or program. And when we're talking about partners, we do have learning partners. We have LMS, learning path, and also job sites. And which is more related to you, I would say the individual's part. This is where, there's job matching there, there's CADS skill certification, and also insight strengths and trackers. So a learning path here. This is where you, most of the time we will have individuals, and also our community in our data professional community is very active. You can get more information there later. Next, Ian. Okay, CADS AI also functions as learning content and LMS aggregator, integrating different tools together in centralized platform, allowing our users to select and maintain their preferred learning providers. So when we're talking about LMS, and when I spoke about, our partners and all, CADS being the main one, but we do have other partners here. We have LinkedIn, we have Coursera. So once you are, say for example, if you are in our platform, you get the option, to upskill yourself through our partners programs. And I think we have more coming in very soon. We're in the midst of, finalizing our partnership with other SLT partners for our SLT platform. Next, Ian. Okay, so when I spoke about Data Star earlier, the finishing school for graduates, this is what we have ongoing now, and I think we're gonna be having this until next year. So basically, this Data Star, we do have 3 tracks, and these are the success story. Just to share with you, let's just look at the yellow boxes here. Data Star will only take about 1 to 3 months of upskilling, meaning training is about 1 to 3 months. 2 months for data analytics and data engineer, 3 months for junior data scientists. So I mentioned earlier that we have 3 tracks. So what graduates needs to do, or you need to do once you graduated, or if you're interested to join, you will need to take assessment. Then from the assessment, we will categorize you. You will fall under which one. It's not that we don't let you choose, but the assessment will be according to all your skills, the skills that you have or the skills that you don't have. So these 3 to 4 months, within these 3 to 4 months, you will be placed, and the monitoring of displacement will be about 12 months. So when we say monitoring, we want to make sure that you receive the salary, the benchmark salary that we have already agreed. If we're talking about pre-COVID, I think the minimum salary that we were looking at was 3,500. But since COVID happened and things like that, and some people are getting retrenched, and some companies are still trying to survive. So the entry salary for each graduates for Data Star is about 3,000 to 5,000. But don't be surprised, we do have Data Star graduates who are earning more than 5,000. So it depends on your resume as well, right? But this is when okay, just look at some graduates, the feedback down there where they are now. What I'm trying to say is, it is good for you to upskill yourself. When we say last time IR 4.0 is the future, but actually IR 4.0 is now, and you want to be relevant, no matter which background you are from, you should upskill yourself and have, take up data science. Join our Data Star. We will assist you with placement. We will upskill you, things like that. So these are some of the Data Star graduates that we have from MTDC, KPT MTDC, and also from Data Star, as in Data Star program itself. Next. Is there more? Thank you. Okay, that's all. So basically, if you want to know more about Data Star, I think we will share with you later, or maybe Suyan can share with them the link to our Data Star in our website. So you can read more about that, or maybe if you do have questions and things like that, you can link up with me in LinkedIn, Marina Kazim, or maybe later I can share my email with all of you. Uncle?
Great. Thank you very much,
Okay.
Marina.
Thank you very
Can
much.
you guys hear me?
Sorry?
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Just easy. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Marina, for the explanation. If you guys do have any questions, just drop down in the chat box. Sukyan may help to entertain the questions for now. Okay. Now, without further ado, we are going straight into the agenda. Why all of us are here tonight. Okay. Let's welcome Azhar and Akmal.
Hi, sound check. Can the panelists hear me?
Yes, very clearly.
All right, awesome. Okay, so our main agenda today is talking about the jobs of the future. But when it's actually the webinar is actually catered for the chemical engineering field, people who have graduate or also still a student in chemical engineering. So when we are talking about the jobs of the future, we are talking about chemical engineering jobs of the future, right? But regardless, the idea of data science and analytics are still applied to across lots of fields, all right, including social science itself, right? Not just STEM fields. Okay. So let me introduce myself first. I'm Azhar. All right. I'm actually a graduate from UKM. Right. I graduated in 2019 with a Bachelor of Science in Physics. Okay. And I think you've heard what Marina already said about the Data Star program. I am also actually one of the alumni of a Data Star, right? So if you notice, I have a degree in physics, but instead with Data Star, I pursued into a data science career, right? But despite all of this scenario, this reality in my life, I actually never have a diminished interest in my field, physics itself. So the same thing could happen to you, right? You are studying in chemical engineering, and then you are going to pursue or maybe apply some of the data science skill into your life. It doesn't break you or it doesn't change you as much as not becoming a chemical engineering. You can still becoming a chemical engineer with data science. All right. And with pandemics, with us kind of encountering the pandemics, right? Becoming chemical engineer with data science skills becoming something a must, right? Because you are revolving around technological age or digital age. All right. And tonight, I'm not going to present alone. Okay, Akmal will be assisting, not really assisting. He's actually my partner in delivering this topic to you all. All right. Okay, Akmal, proceed.
Hi everyone. So yeah, I'm just gonna do a quick introduction about myself. So my name is Akmal Hisham Azman. You guys can call me Akmal. So I graduated at around 1.5 years ago with a degree in petroleum engineering. So it's something that is quite similar with chemical engineering. You know, we usually say that petroleum engineering is the brother of or the sister of chemical engineering lah. So I graduated with a degree in petroleum engineering from University of New South Wales, Sydney. Started working as a production engineer at Top Glove last year for about 6-7 months. And then right now I'm currently working as a commercial analyst at the Center of Applied Data Science. So yeah, I think I'm not going to take too much time of introducing myself, passing back to Azhar to go straight to his points.
All right, I'm taking back the baton. And can we proceed with the next slide? All right, this is what Jack Ma has said maybe years ago. After internet coming in our life, last 20 years was for IT. And now next 30 years, meaning in this current 30 years, will be for DT, data technology. Now everything will be data driven, not the information driven, right? It's a little bit confusing when we are talking about data driven and information driven. Actually, data is an information. What Jack Ma was trying to say is, instead of we making a decision based on what we know, we are going to make a decision based on what we know and what is proven to what we have known. All right. So we are making something, making a decision, making a change into our technology, our development, our research and development with something that has supported by data, not just some information coming from maybe I'm not sure where. Maybe most of us doesn't know where. All right, it's biased. It might be a little bit touch up with some information that is not really reliable, right? But with data, we are going to make a change. We're going to deliver our fields into something that has like an evidence for us to work on it. Entering the era of industry or IR 4.0, data technology plays a critical role for all and smart intelligence application to operate and function to run the world. Right? Currently, when we are talking about smart and intelligent applications, it doesn't really as smart as a human. All right. So all of these applications that operate and function around the world actually requires the digital information, that what we have known as data, right? That's why data plays a critical, data technology itself plays a critical role in making this utopia, the world of utopia with machine helping us, something reachable. All right. Next. Okay. So this is the scenario of IR 4.0 and smart factory, right? In current industry, chemical engineering, maybe not really chemical engineering, something around revolving chemical and biology, and also mechanical has been always the most is a field, the field that benefiting data science, right, in the industries. And this is the idea of the ideal smart factory. Okay, in the smart industry or smart factory, we have a co-creation, right? People have a relationship, a good relationship, people collaborating, all right? And we have mass customization, right? From, let's say we have an information, we have a data supported, and we know what kind of change we could make to our product, what kind of change that we could deliver to our customers. And then we have Internet of Things to make this possible. And we have cyber physical system, basically the machine that is autocratic, it governs itself to make our business productive, right? It creates the products that we want with the least supervision from us human. All right. And then we have operational excellence variation reduction. All right. So basically, we have a least control on what, I mean, not really a least control. All right. We have the control, but we are trying to have a less touch on the system, right? Because we believe human kind of flawed. Right? We don't want to have our flaws to actually interrupt or disrupt our system, our ecosystem, right? And then enterprise agility, competent workforce, right? Because our workforce now, with the current skills, they are so brilliant. They have the digital skills, they have soft skills, they have lots of skills, right? Making the smart industry possible, making all of this creation possible, and should not be excluded from our topic is the sustainability, right? Because we are looking forward for a world where our creation doesn't actually making the world a more worse place, right? We are making the world much a better place, right? So what is common in all of these 7 smart factory elements? It's data collection and analytics, right? Without data collection and analytics, all of these are not going to be possible, right? It's not just impossible, it's going to be hard to achieve, right? Because people keep on putting their bias into decision making, and it's making the creation a little bit, it's hard to achieve the goal together, right, from different minds. Okay. Let's take a look in at this video, and we'll see how actually what we are looking at for the 4th industrial revolution. All right, and how is this revolution is going to affect Ingenious life.
A vision of tomorrow's manufacturing. Products finding their way independently through the production process. In intelligent factories, machines and products communicate with each other, cooperatively driving production. Raw materials and machines are interconnected within an Internet of Things. The objective, highly flexible, individualized, and resource-friendly mass production. That is the vision for the 4th Industrial Revolution. A look back at history. At the end of the 18th century, the first steam engines and the intelligent use of hydropower revolutionized production. The late 19th century saw the rise of electrical engineering and mass production. The first moving belt conveyor was used as long ago as 1870 in the slaughterhouses of Cincinnati, Ohio. In the mid-1970s, electronics and IT began to expand rapidly into industry. Siemens developed the first SIMATIC. Production became increasingly based on computer-assisted controls. The fourth industrial revolution is still a vision. Experts believe that it will only become a reality within the next 20 years. In intelligent factories, everything is interconnected wirelessly. At the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence in Kaiserslautern, this future can already be experienced right now. Research is underway here into exactly what the industrial production of tomorrow will be like.
Fabriken werden zukünftig aus Bausteinen bestehen, aus smarten oder intelligenten Bausteinen, wie man es nennen mag. Vergleichen wir das vielleicht mal so ein bisschen mit einer Lego-Steinwelt. Das heißt, wir haben standardisierte Bausteine, die wir hoffentlich relativ einfach zusammenstecken und zusammensetzen können. Jeder dieser Bausteine hat bestimmte Funktionalitäten und wir können sie zukünftig in einem solchen fabrikinternen Internet dann kombinieren.
A bottling plant for liquids, set up together with Siemens, is used to demonstrate the most important components of the intelligent factory of the future. Each bottle contains an RFID chip storing a precise description of how it has to be processed. Which liquid, which lid, and which label. At each station, the bottle communicates directly with the machine, telling it how it has to be processed. At the end, a computer checks whether the bottle has actually been produced as desired. Factories with networked machines and products are already in existence today. In the future, however, these hitherto self-contained systems will be connected together in a comprehensive network. All devices, machines, and materials will be duly equipped with sensors and communications technology and connect to each other. These systems are known as cyber-physical systems. The highlight is that they communicate with each other and also control each other cooperatively.
Wenn Sie sich das Thema Industrie 4.0 angucken, dann basiert sie ja auf der Logik dieser Cyber-Physical Systems. Das heißt, Sie haben autokrate, selbst arbeitende Systeme, die sich optimieren und sich gegenseitig austauschen und dadurch letzten Endes Produktion optimieren.
Ja, die Vision sieht so aus, dass wir ein Internet quasi hinunterziehen bis auf die unterste Ebene. Das heißt, jeder Sensor, jeder Aktor wäre damit quasi ein Teilnehmer eines Internet der Dinge. Jedes Gerät hat damit eine eigene IP-Adresse, ist damit adressierbar in diesem Netzwerk.
For the customers, this means tailor-made products at relatively affordable prices. For industry, it means highly flexible mass production that can be rapidly adapted to market changes. Because in the future, product life cycles will be even shorter. Another reason why it's increasingly important to depict engineering across the entire life cycle. Maintenance, for instance, is planned in from the very start.
Wir haben ja bereits in den 90er Jahren mit Totally Integrated Automation entsprechend ein Setup gewählt, wo unsere Produkte und Systeme sehr gut miteinander kommunizieren können.
Corporate technology in Princeton, a cyber-physical control is being researched even today. The vision, the control, and all linked sensors are connected to the internet.
One potential scenario is enabling the PLC to react to utility pricing information in building automation. We can enhance PLCs to use simulation to calculate how much to pre-cool a building, with the ultimate goal of turning off the cooling system during peak times.
But that's just the beginning.
We've prototyped capabilities in a PLC to access big data in cyberspace in real time. And we've also enabled a network of PLCs to connect to a dynamic simulation of the entire physical process.
All right, that's it. When we are talking about cyber physical system, right? So the Ingenious was actually hoping to have a system that's governed itself. I've mentioned this before. All right, so basically they already have a centralized control, right? If there is one problem or maybe one change, the other subsystem will take another change, right? Somewhat like a quantum entanglement, right? But the change is very related, even though they are far away, right? This is the Internet of Things, right? They are entirely connected, all right? And with the new job, in the future job, our jobs will be just to control centralize, right? To make sure that each of the subsystems, even though they are far away, is still within our reach or within our control, all right? And why do we need this kind of revolution? Is because the first one, we're going to improve our business operations, right? Because with the least supervision, we we can focus our job, our human job, to something much more crucial that isn't yet able to be automized, right? And then the second one is to generate new revenue and drive growth, right? Because it is already automated with the cyber physical system. They can produce much more with a very good precision, right? And a very least flaw or maybe errors, right? That is what we are hoping for, and this is what we are striving for. Maybe in another 3 to 5 more years, right? We are going there, right? People or the industries are keep on changing to make this happen, right? Next slide. So you might be familiar even before you join your universities, right? This kind of career like chemical engineer, quality manager, energy manager, materials manager, mining engineer, manufacturing engineer, right? These jobs are still there, but the way they are going to execute their role would be different in the smart factory, right? If you can see in the image, the diagram, it consists of smart mobility, smart grid, and others, another four connection, right? All of these actually the system, the cyber physical systems. And where do these roles fit in? It fits in almost across the system, right? You are going to make it centralized. You are the center. You are going to be the center that's going to govern all of this, regardless of your role, right? Your role is going to define how are you going to make the system works, all right? The chemical engineer would only supervise on how the automation of the chemical engineering, and then the quality manager will focus on the automation of making sure the quality is up to the level, all right? And then we have energy manager to maybe optimize the energy of the factory, right? To make sure we don't use too much of energy and we using the energy just enough for our production. That's for example. Next. Yeah. And this is the rough idea on how you are going to be paid as a chemical engineer. Chemical engineer, and maybe the job roles related to this, right? In Malaysia specifically, 25% earning 4,650, right? And then you'll see like 50 more percent, 75 more percent, and up to 10,700 MYR, right? This is how very demanding your job is, chemical engineer, right? And with data science, you're going to leverage your skills up to you're going to have your salaries, not your salaries, your job is going to be very demanding in a way that no one could compete with you, right? Because you are very special in a way because you can leverage the digital age, right? You are the digital age chemical engineer, right? Next. Which companies are hiring? Right. Actually, in Malaysia, there's lots of them, right? Because chemical industry is quite famous, I think, across the globe, right? If you compare, for example, with physics, it's quite focused on the Europe region, right? Because they, I'm not sure why, but Malaysia or maybe Asian itself focusing on creating revenue through production, through the market, through the stocks, right? And chemical industry are the main industry that have a good prospect for the stakeholders to invest in, right? We have Harta Lega. I think it's quite popular. You might already know of it, even before you already enroll into chemical engineering in UMP, right? Next. So let's see how actually digital transformation is needed or maybe is happening already in chemical industry. All right. So you have seen that this is a demonstration on how a smart factory in chemical industry has been revolutionized with a digital transformation, right? Basically, with a digital or data science, it helps handling hazard and also quality in chemical industry much better, right? They have an automated control to alert all of the staffs whenever there is a problem with the, for example, the chemical leakage. And also we have a system on making sure that our products has the highest precision of combinations of chemical compounds, right? That is the idea of it, all right? Maybe you've seen that this is nothing much impressive, but if you've seen the actual scale uh, of the scenario, if you actually work in the smart factory, you've seen that this kind of transformation actually generated a bigger percentage of revenue rather than the traditional way, right? It might be something familiar with the way you conduct it in your lab, but smart factory making it much better, right? It's something like the way you are looking at the movies. It's nearing to that level. All right, next. All right. So what is required for chemical engineers industry in the IR 4.0, right? So you, the graduates, and maybe after graduation, I think I've seen like Cairo, you will need some advanced levels of digital tools, right? The way for you to handle your data, uh, very keen, very fine, to make sure that you are making your products the right way, all right? According to the Institute of Chemical Engineers, ICHEM block, computing skill is among the top 10 skills chemical engineers should be talking about. Okay? I know you have the domain skill. Chemical engineering is what we call the domain skill, but to make sure that your domain skill is able to live in this digital age, you must have a computing skill to bring your domain ideas to a different level, right? To make sure that your domain skill, for example, your chemical engineering, to be something a game changer to the way we live our life. All right. Maybe we could look at something like a solar panel, maybe a solar panel that able to store the maximum energy from sunlight. That's for example, right? I think the maximum energy that can be stored from sunlight recently is about 5 to 10%. All right. Our goal here is to make it optimizing it. And this computer skill, we are hoping, not just hoping, we envision it's going to make it possible. Right? Next. So the key applications of data science and AI, regardless of your fields, but very good in chemical engineers, is discovery. For example, we could discover new molecular structures, chemical combinations, new production processes, new chemical pathways. All right, all of this is assisted by data science methodology. Right, when we are talking about data science, it's a field that concerns about method. All right, so you are going to adapt this kind of lots of methods, computational methods into your domain skill, chemical engineers, to actually make this kind of discovery, right? And we are trying to innovate to create new products with new combinations of chemical blends, mixtures of materials at varying production environments. All right. So if you have seen maybe like the vaccine creation, right? That's one of the example where we leverage on data science to create a new products, right? From something maybe previous creation, from previous discovery, and we make it very fast maybe about in months rather than in years, unlike the previous created vaccines. Okay. And then we have optimization. We have cost reduction by improving effectiveness and efficiency of work processes, reduce lag time, and automate mundane, repetitive works in production and processes. For example, when the smart factory happens to have a faulty or hazard accident, right? The whole factory will try to will respond to it maybe by shutting it down completely immediately, so there's no more further hazards is going to happen, right? This kind of optimization we are looking for. And then let's say when you are combining between two chemical ingredients, right, it will optimize how much of ingredient A and ingredient B can be made to produce the high efficacy for your goal or for your main purpose of the compounds. All right. And then we have prevention. Diagnose and prevent errors, reduce faulty, fraudulent case, avoid mismanagement, and etc. This is one example when we take we concerns about the precision in our processes, right? We could make sure that we are not going overboard or maybe under expectation as well. Next. All right. So this is the change of what have happening in chemical industry, right? Previously, we are utilizing intelligent extraction engine or AI core, meaning that the AI is only making you make a decision from a process that you are handling yourself. All right. And then with this AI brought to the new level, all right, we can have the AI itself to predict, maybe like expect the molecular properties in it. Okay, so instead of you making an analysis, you are going to give or program your AI to make it more challenging and find it the best instead of finding the molecular properties, you are going to find out a new discovery of a molecular properties. All right. And then from this information, if we put into an automation framework, meaning it happens in real time process, we can make a decision making in the instant of its happening, meaning at the very instant we know something has been found, we could maybe start publishing it or maybe share it to someone who need it, or maybe we start to make we try to plan something to benefit from it, maybe create a new products from it. All right, that's what happened in the action plan diagram, right? Because we have the idea already, we have the real time information, we optimally change the reactor conditions. Okay, with the right action plans, we can deliver it to make sure that it is scalable, repeatable, and maybe conservable. All right, so everyone can make it and everyone can benefit from it, right? But just to be real with the current industry competitions, when I'm talking about sharing information, meaning you are going to share it within your own organization, right? And even with the data science and the digital age, there's so much legal enforcement on how data can be used or be shared with others, right? So you're going to benefit from it without you exposing your strategical values to others. So both of these key applications, right, the discover materials future and also a deep learning is this video are actually a lectures, right? More than an hour lectures. All right, so maybe I should just maybe give you a preview on what these two, right? So the first one is discover the materials of the future in 30 seconds or less. I think I've said this in the previous slides. So with the AI technology or data technology that we can predict or have the AI itself create a new materials, or maybe like to imagine, to simulate what kind of materials can be created. All right, rather than you put in your theoretical ideas to make sure that it works, but it might not after you have tested it. But with AI, it creates with multiple iterations, and just find the right materials with the right compounds for it. All right, and then we have a deep learning for molecular engineering. Right, the deep learning is used to, for example, identify the molecular properties. Right, the deep learning or the AI would learn from your previous data sets on how your molecular structure is, and then how it affects maybe like the solubility, the acidity, and everything kinds of that. But with deep learning, if you found a new structure which you haven't known about it, and it has learned from the previous molecular structures, it will know exactly what kind of properties it have to the new structures, right? Because it has learned from the previous structures, right? This is the deep learning and molecular engineering. So basically, even though you might not have known the new structure properties, all right, but the deep learning will give you the answers for it, even without you doing the experiment to make sure of it. All right, but let's say, just to be real again, because even without an experiment, right, the deep learning could help you make it a theoretical idea on how the new structure will behave, but you will still need to be experimental to make sure that the hazard is the hazard and the benefits is the benefits, right? So it's no problem that you do the experiments, but deep learning make it more faster even before you know it is harmful or beneficial. Okay, yeah. So this is another two key applications. Uh, the supercharged battery development for EVs, and then we have chemical reaction predictions. All right. So maybe Akmal can play the first video on the left.
What if you could recharge your electric car in under 10 minutes, about the time it takes to stop at a gas station? The overall goal of this research is to develop methods that allow us to accelerate battery testing, but without degrading it a large amount.
When batteries are charged at a very fast rate, it puts greater strain on the battery, which causes a degradation on their overall life.
The main bottleneck with advances in electric vehicle batteries is testing times.
Going from the laboratory to an actual deployment in an EV can take years.
The method we've developed is a machine learning technique to reduce testing times by about 98%.
So typically it takes about a couple of months to finish an experiment in this case, and we were able to reduce that time down to 4 days.
We've done this, I think, through a variety of different approaches. One is to accelerate the test itself, and then the other is to accelerate the entire process of generating those tests and determining what tests to run. So instead of testing hundreds or possibly millions of combinations, we test just a few and use a machine learning algorithm to determine what the outcomes would be on all the others.
The method is very general, and it can be applied to many other cases that involve time-consuming experiments.
So there are basically two components to the research. The researchers wrote a program that, based only on a few cycles of charging, would figure out what's the lifetime of a battery. And the other component of the research was an algorithm which figures out which charging protocols to test and when.
So this is an exciting academic and industrial collaboration between Stanford, MIT, and the Toyota Research Institute.
The Stanford groups were focused first on experiments, providing the data.
At TRI, they've helped with the design of the data collection pipeline and the cloud infrastructure.
The group at MIT was mostly involved in making early predictions.
The current work improves the efficiency of the optimization.
The exact details depend on the optimization problem, but broadly speaking, we are reducing the number of experiments to the bare minimum needed to reach a conclusion.
The specific goal of this research was to optimize fast charging. Can we charge a battery in 10 minutes, and what's the best way to do that? The data that is being processed for these machine learning algorithms is being packaged into cycles. We take each time we charge and discharge the battery as a distinct unit, and we both clean and standardize that data.
There are substantial variations in performance from one battery to the next, which makes it difficult to apply traditional optimization methods. However, there are machine learning algorithms that are specifically designed to address problems of this nature.
It also helped us identify novel charging protocols which we did not know existed that could help us charge a battery much faster.
Using a data pipeline is the best practice for data at scale, especially as scientific experiments start generating more and more data, the volume increases. This becomes a much more important practice.
I think one of the reasons this was not done before is that it really required a lot of an interdisciplinary collaboration between and expertise both in the machine learning world and what kind of algorithms we should use for this particular application, and a lot of expertise in terms of like battery technology.
This provides a better way to do science and experiments in the future. As science becomes much more data intensive, this provides the ability to utilize that data in the optimum manner.
How can we use AI and machine learning, optimal experimental design, the kind of technologies that we've just talked about, not only to optimize for something, but actually help us come up with a better understanding of the physical processes.
The next steps for this project are to apply this method to much more challenging problems in manufacturing of batteries and problems in real-world use cases, like when do you charge your battery or how long do you keep it charged?
We learned a lot through this process.
Yes.
The application of these algorithms, and also the algorithm.
So basically, in the first video, they create a battery system, right? Maybe composing of multiple scenarios or multiple system of connections, right? They have tested maybe around 50s, right? From thousands of possible connections, and then the AI will try to test the other remaining of it, maybe around 950 more, right? Making it possible to test every scenario we have and optimize it, the battery development to supercharge it, right? And in the second video, even though I'm not going to share with you, it's a similar procedure where they put in some tests to several, maybe a few of it, and the AI would test the other thousands of it and found the right reaction that actually expose a new material, expose a new possible materials that can be developed. All right, next slide, please. So this is the other key applications, right? In oil and gas industry, we have AI to make sure that the process is happening very well, right? If there is maybe a previous accident happening months ago, we have the AI log all of those accident information in their system, and whenever there's a problem with that, it will suggest you the right solution for it, right? And even with the precision as well. Let's say, for example, during the accident, it will also measure the pressure that is happening, maybe at the sea or even at the platform, the equipment that we have, and then it will suggest to engineers around the platform on how to resolve the problem, right? It based on the previous scenarios of accident that has happened. All right. And the second one, using AI in manufacturing for increased productivity. I think this is kind of a redundant point I have mentioned before. With AI, because we have accelerated our finding, our analytics, right? So our productivity can be enhanced even further, right? So next. Yeah, so I think when it comes to the actual career for engineers like yourself, and even on how to to grow with it, I think Akmal will be the best person to explain it to you. Continue on.
Right. Hi, everyone. So I think first, thank you so much, Azhar. I think he has done a great job in explaining how actually data science is impacting the industry as an overall, and even a micro level, how it is impacting chemical engineering industry. Right. So I think, but ultimately, right, the million-dollar question now becomes, as a graduate, as a fourth year, third year, second year, or even first year, and I trust we have a few of our alumni here from UMP, the ultimate question now becomes, how can I advance my career, or even how can I get a job, right? So I think this question has become the most popular question for every graduate right now. And today with COVID-19 striking back our country, job market today is very, very challenging. Every graduates today has a very similar skill set, but when it comes to supply, when you look at every organization, they are trying to boost their digitalization industry. So the question now becomes, can graduates right now accommodate to what demand is asking? All right. So in order for you to understand how can we actually advance my career or even get a job, I think it's best for us to first understand the supply and demand side of today's workforce, right? As I said just now, today organizations are racing to become a digital business. They are trying to focus on how can they improve their business through artificial intelligence. They're trying to look into how they can search for new customers through new data analytics. And they're trying to use and figure out how they can use cloud computing to improve their IoT infrastructure. So and these are the things that is happening actually at the moment as we are speaking in every organization today in Malaysia or even worldwide. So this actually creates a demand. This actually creates an opportunity for workforce to fill up all those needs in order for all the organization to really boost up their business. So we have established that demand is there, then demand is improving every single time. But when it comes to supply side, especially as a graduate, I think majority of us today in this webinar session will agree that the curriculums of engineering or even chemical engineering today is somewhat very similar to what we have even maybe 10, 15 years ago. I graduated with a degree in petroleum engineering. Basically, what I did is going through all the curriculum that is being outlined without having to think or without having to realize that actually all these data literacy skills, all these programming skills, computer skills is actually needed for you to become the new level of engineer. So we have established that the supply side is actually lacking in providing the necessary talents to the demand side or the organization. So, and again, this is actually creating an opportunity. And for us, as a new graduate or upcoming graduate or even an alumni, we need to start to think on how we can be different with other of our competitors, meaning right now we have a bunch of chemical engineering graduates from UMP. Also have thousands of chemical engineering graduates. UITM also have thousands of chemical engineering graduates. You need to start to think of how you can be different compared to others. If you really want to secure a job with all those big organizations such as, I don't know, maybe Exxon or Schlumberger or Nestle or even Top-Glove, right? So you need to start think how you can be different. And the main first point I would like to point out on how you can be different to others is by accumulating experience. Now you must be asking yourself, how can I accumulate experience? I don't even graduate yet. I just started studying. I am now in my third year or fourth year. How can I accumulate experience? And I think the key here is not to demonstrate that you have become a competent chemical engineer. The main thing that you need to start think of how you can portray all those curriculum activities that you have done, how you can portray the internship that you have done, or even with any society that you have involved with, and demonstrate that in your resume as well as during your interview, how those skills that you have learned can impact the businesses. So the main first point that I want to establish is trying to think of how you can portray all the experience that you have gained through curriculum activities or even internship, and think of how those skills that you have learned can impact the businesses. For example, right, when I was in Australia, the main part-time job that I did was working as a delivery rider. So we have Food Panda here in Malaysia, but back in Australia, it's called Foodora. So my main job is to basically take the food in the restaurant, take it, and then deliver that to the clients, right, or to the customers. But I'm not gonna say in my resume, or I'm not gonna say during my interview session, my job is doing that. But what I would like to do, or what I would do if I were to influence my future employers to hire me, is that maybe I'm gonna slide in some skills such as customer management, client management, being on time, on picking up all those foods. So these are the skills that, or trait that is highly sought out by today's employers. And you need to start think of how you can portray all the experience that you have learned, and in such a way that it's going to impact the business or your future employers. All right. So second one would be, so this is actually my favorite, picking up more skills. And to best illustrate this is, I'm just going to share you my example of what I actually did, right? So I graduated January 2020. So I came back to Malaysia end of January. And then I thought to myself, I'm just going to chill out a little bit. I'm not going to search for any job because I've been away for quite some time. And then I'm going to maybe start search for a job after 2-3 months. And then COVID came. COVID hit, and literally there's no job opening for graduate during that moment. So I thought to myself, when the job market is become stabilized right after this, how can I be different with other of my competitors? And the key here that you need to start to think is to picking up more skills. And what I mean by picking up more skill is you need to start learn these programming skills, these data literacy skills, and by learning that, you need to start build your own portfolio. So what I mean by that is, after this, what I would request everyone that is here to do after this session is go to Google and try to search Python programming skills beginner, or even how can I build a data science portfolio project for beginner, and spend few hours to actually really build on those skills. Because today's, if you really want to become, or if you really want to join those big organizations, they are looking at so much more than just a degree. Because everyone today has a chemical engineering degree, but not everyone has a portfolio that's saying that you can utilize those Python programming skills or Tableau visualization skills and solve a real-time business problem. So start think of how you can build your portfolio before you graduate, even before you graduate. Because what I did in the span of 2 months before I secure my first job is I really focus on YouTube classes and some of the online resources that is available. I learned Python programming, and I also learned on how I can create my own portfolio. Very beginner portfolio will do. It doesn't have to be like a advanced portfolio of Python programming or even data science portfolio. Just a simple project that's gonna demonstrate to employers that, all right, this guy or this girl with chemical engineering degree with domain knowledge, and plus he or she has this Python programming skill and is actually being practiced from the portfolio that you have shown. I think it's a win-win situation for both the employers as well as yourself, and they're gonna think of, all right, this is the right candidate to hire. So after this, start think of how you can picking up more skills, and the best resource would be Google lah, because everything is there. Everything can be gotten there. You just need to take that simple action on doing the search and put some hours into completing and learning all those skills, right? So the main thing, or the main worrying things, that is, you all need to realize that today 85% of jobs that will exist in 2020 haven't been invented yet. So the question right now becomes, or maybe that you have at the back of your mind, will chemical engineers today be abolished? Will there be no longer chemical engineers at 2030? Or maybe will chemical engineers of the future be replaced by robots or automation engineers, right? So these are the questions that is mingling in our mind by looking at this statistic that is being brought up by Institute for the Future. And this is actually worrying, but at the same time, it actually tells us that if you really want to make sure you are going to secure a job, or if you really want to make sure that you're going to be a competent engineer for the future, a domain skills plus all this data literacy, all this programming skill is going to help you achieve that. So when we look into the digitalization horizon by industry, right? And I'm going to just focus on few of the industry here. There's a lot of industry here, but when we look at chemical, manufacturing, and pharmaceutical, it is actually lagging behind as compared to our main friends here from oil and gas. And I'm just going to share you a quick example, right? So I did my internship with Schlumberger, and I was placed in one of their product line called digital integration. So it's basically the hub of digital data literacy, artificial intelligence for Schlumberger. And what I can tell you that every or majority of engineers that I've spoken to, that I have worked with during my time, during my internship there, has first, basic Python programming. Second, has advanced Excel skills. So this thing, although it's not exhaustive, maybe other engineers will have Tableau skills or Power BI skills, but it tells you that if you really want to secure a job at all those big companies, you need to start to have all those skills right away, and not just when you jump into becoming a workforce for them. So again, what I'm trying to point out is, think about it, try and start and take action today, and to learn all these necessary skills, because it's actually not just something that is nice to have, but it's actually a need if you really want to work at all those big companies. And when it comes to manufacturing, right? So again, I want to share you a real case example. So I worked with Top Glove before. They are actually really boosting up their initiative on digitalization. So one example that I can share you, maybe, so when they are producing glove, right? So when it comes to the end of production line, back in the days, maybe 3 or 5 years ago, they used to have people lining up and inspect all the glove that is being produced and determine whether it's bad or whether it's good. And whether if it's bad, they have to take those gloves out. And if it's good, those gloves are going to be packed for delivery. So back in the days, they used people to inspect all those. But when I was working there, it is actually no longer there. People no longer line up to inspect all those gloves. They have this artificial intelligence camera that is inspecting all the gloves in real time. And they have the ability, or they have the machinery to detect all those bad gloves and quickly take all those gloves out automatically without having the need of people to inspect that. So it tells you that these things, or digitalization, is actually happening as we're speaking. So back to my point, really start to build up your skills of the future if you really want to make sure you become a competent chemical engineer. So again, back to the point that I just mentioned just now, the reason why demand is there is because of adoption of new technologies. Organizations are racing to adopt all this new technology, all data science, data analytics, dashboard, real-time monitoring, artificial intelligence. Though these are the things that organizations are trying to achieve or trying to use. And by adopting this, they didn't realize that their workforce is not ready to utilize or to foster the initiative that they're trying to do. So there's definitely skills that they have realized. And today, when you look at organization, you know, when you when you start work for all those big companies, they have this competency structure. So you're going to start as a junior engineer and then move on to senior engineer and then manager and so on. They're going to start incorporate or they're going to start include data literacy as a competency development program. So they're no longer just going to focus on building up skills to solve engineering calculation, but they're going to include this data literacy skills, these programming skills in the development program, in the training program. So again, back to my point just now, I think it's good if you, whenever you jump to the workforce, you already have all those basic skills ready and for you to further develop when you started working. So these skills gap are actually real, and it's important for you to realize that you're going to start to upskill yourself in order to fill up those gaps. So again, when we look at some of the stable roles, new roles, and even redundant roles, right? So if you look closely at the table there under the stable roles, you can find that chemical processing plant operator is a stable role. Energy and petroleum engineer is going to be a stable role. Petroleum and natural gas refining plant operator is going to be a stable role. But that doesn't mean stable roles doesn't need all these new skills. But it tells you that domain skills is very important. But you need to realize that domain skill plus this new technology skills, new data literacy skill is going to be the way of the future. So when you look at new roles, for example, data analysts and scientists, AI and machine learning specialists, big data specialists. So these are some of the new roles, and it's actually not a new role. Actually, it's actually roles that is available out there. If you go and search at JobStreet or even LinkedIn and just type data analyst or even data scientist, you can see thousands of new roles or thousands of job offerings available out at this very moment. So this role is actually keep on being produced or keep on being in demand. So again, when we look at redundant roles, clerk, financial analyst, these are roles that is highly jeopardized because of technology. So basically think about, they start to think of, or industries start to think of how you can automate all those stuff and you no longer need all this role. So again, adoption of new technologies is the main reason why skills gap are widened or skills gap are there. So it's important for you to realize, and it's important for you to start take action from now on. What about skills? What are the skills demand for today and for the next year, 2020? And at the top of the list, you can see analytical thinking and innovation. So what is analytical thinking, right? So there's a lot of definition for analytical thinking, but for me, my own definition of analytical thinking is to have the ability to look at business problem or even any problems and think of how you can solve that and derive an insight to the stakeholders. So that is for me a definition of analytical thinking. So the ability to really look at problems and think of solution that is going to bring impact to stakeholders or even organization. So these are some of the high demand skills if you really want to make sure you're going to be a competent chemical engineers for the future. So again, if we look at some of the jobs that didn't even exist 5 years ago, we look at growth hacker, chief digital officer, chatbox designer, user interface, user experience tester. These are roles that is actually available today, and it doesn't available back in 5 years ago. So you can have the sense of job or workforce today is revolutionizing. Is the job today or the market today, the demand today is no longer same as what we have 5 years ago. New roles are coming in, a more robust and a more complicated chemical engineer is needed if you really want to become an excellent and competent chemical engineer. So again, this just demonstrated that today's workforce or today's supply and demands market is changing, and it's important for us as a new graduate or a coming graduate to start think of how you can be different compared to your competitors. So we look at also dying profession versus thriving profession, right? Job that existed 20 years ago but now gone or disappearing soon. So meter reader, what else? Clerk. Again, these are some of the roles that I just mentioned just now that is redundant or is actually dying as we're speaking right now. So there's no longer job opening for clerk or meter reader, all these blue collar workers, because it's gonna be replaced or potentially gonna be replaced by machinery or automation. But jobs that were found around 20 years ago, but here today, so we look at blockchain engineer, chief data scientist, cloud computing specialist. So these are some of the new roles that is actually available today that is highly changing today's landscape of workforce. So this actually tells us that if you can't or if you don't take action today on really upskilling yourself and to really equip yourself with all these new skills, you're going to be left behind. So the $1 million question today is, or maybe that you have at the back of your head, will your job as chemical engineer at risk of being replaced by robots? So I think I'm not going to explain or answer that to you. I'm going to pass back to my fellow colleague here, Azhar. So he's going to basically outline what are some of the data professional roles that is available today and skills needed if you were or if you are interested to become one. So yeah, over to you, Azhar.
All right, thank you, Akmal. And the answers for that will be under the outlines that I'm going to talk about, right? But the quick question, the quick answers will be, no, you are not going to be replaced by robots. But yeah, you could think on it on yourself, right? So by 2030, all jobs should require data science, analytics, and AI skill since the day one at work. All right. So the moment you are going to be hired, you're already going to apply your data science and analytics skills. Right? Continue. So basically, you would have soft skills and hard skills, and all of the hard skills are going to comprise of your data skills, your domain skills, and also your analytic skills, right? If you could see even from the graphic itself, it's trying to show you the business and also the analytics part of it. All right. And soft skills on how you're going to communicate and how you're going to present your data. All right. Even data visualization is part of the soft skill where you're going to concern on data science as well. Next. All right. So companies will need more data professionals working together for organizational wide digital initiatives, right? So let's look at, even though when you are from a chemical engineering background, you would be able to uprise yourself as a data professionals, driven yourself as a chemical engineer, but as well as a good data professional, right? So there's three main types of data professionals. Next, Akmal. So these are the three. The first one would be data analysts. The second is data engineers, and the third is data scientists. Data analyst is quite similar to what you have been doing since in your domain. You are finding the answers to your questions, right? And data engineers is about making sure the system of the data, let's say even if you are a chemical engineer with a data engineer's philosophy, you're going to make the data system for your chemical, let's say chemical factory, is to be optimized, right? And the data could be used by your data analyst and your data scientist. And then if you are putting yourself as a data scientist driven to be a chemical engineers, it's going to be applied as to answer questions as much as well to predict what will happen in the future. Like for example, to find the new materials, to find a new compounds, to find a new faulty errors on it. All right. So next. So these are among the 32 technical skills and competency of data professionals. I think some of them already has been explained by Akmal itself. Right? So you could see like Python programming. Akmal keep on saying that Python programming. We have also like R programming. I think most of you are actually exposed well to MATLAB rather than Python. All right, and then we have SQL like Apache. We have GitHub. I think most of you are also familiar with the GitHub. All right, next. And these are the characteristic of data professionals. The four main quarters of your behavior, of your characters. If you're going to be a data-driven campaigns, all right, to your problems, the profile one. And then you're going to be the profile to, you know, on how to interact, to find the good teammates, to interact, to discuss, to find a solution, right, with your data. And then with the data, you're going to be, you need to have a profile tree, the change agent, right? You need to drive organization with the data that you have, right? And this leads to the profile for the driver, right? You drive your organization to a change, to a better development of the organization, all right? And even to you for yourself as a chemical engineer, right? The data would also should change you as a person as well. Next. So the future is now, right? If you recall what Akmal has said before, all right, you need to have a skills that makes you different from the others, right? The traditional career path would only concern on how well you are doing good after years of experience, but the new one, Akmal, the new one is about how well are you going to utilize your skill, right? So if you have seen after the pandemic hits, after the first total lockdown, many companies actually start to crawl back, right? They got hit by the pandemic and they start to crawl because even with those, with their staff of years of experience, they are not able to sustain to the impact of the pandemic, right? So this is where the digital age come in, where you are making yourself prepared for this kind of change and as much as well to predict what will happen in the future next. Might or might not actually be able to sustain your job later on. All right, next. So if you are looking at to be a enterprise data analyst driven as a chemical engineer, you will need this skill like programming, descriptive statistics, and storytelling. So these are among the tools to be mastered, right? Excel, SQL, interacting with your database, a little bit of programming, and also visualization, right? But I always remind this to my colleague as well in CADS, right? Tools are not something to define your work, right? Because this kind of tools of skills is revolved by how well the age is revolving as well, right? Sometimes in the future might be Excel could be irrelevant as well, right? So yeah, so just if you are going to learn Excel, even Python, it's a learning of you are catching up with the current one, and you need might as well to be prepared the change of the tools in the future, right? And next, so we have also the skills and tools by enterprise data engineer. Maybe you could scan a bit. There's also Python and SQL, but there's additional skills like ETL, basic machine learning and database architecture, And how about enterprise data scientists? So enterprise data scientists will need a big data analytics and very comprised of a machine learning skills, database design, and also deep learning. And if you notice, there's Python again, right? And then we have Hadoop, TensorFlow, and class is actually meant for machine learning. So to sum up, Akmal, whichever path you take, be sure to have a few in-demand skills to complement your chemical engineering profession, right? I think this is what Akmal and me has agreed on for you graduates or even after graduates, right? Always be prepared with skills. I think that is all from us both. I think we should pass the session to Husna.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It has a long session. I hope you guys do get something out of it. Do you guys have any question? A quick one. If you guys have any question, just put it in the chat box. I know it's already 9:30 and it's Saturday night. Thank you so much for still staying with us. Do you guys have any questions? I can't see your faces or whatsoever, so the chat box is the only way that I can see you. So if you have no question, just put I'm good or we're good or whatever. Okay, there's none. I'm just gonna count until 3. If there's none, then I shall proceed. 1, 2, 3. Are you guys still there? Are you guys still there?
I think they are, but they're a bit shy.
Okay. A bit shy? Okay. All right. So, Hussein, do you have any questions? No?
Actually, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
So,
Asui, yeah.
so yeah, I realized that Python has, came up a lot in during the presentation from Mr. Azhar. I'm wondering how actually like we're using Python, because for our course we don't really use Python. We use like MATLAB. We do use MATLAB, but for Python we don't really use it. We also use Aspen instead, but that's more towards chemical engineering, I suppose. So I would like to ask how important is it that we use Python, and how can we actually apply that to our instead of using MATLAB, comparing, because as students we don't really have time to learn. We don't really have much time to learn a lot of softwares and to juggle with our studies as well. So maybe we can explain more on that, if possible.
May I answer that, Husna?
Of course, you're not expecting me to answer that, right?
All right. Okay. So to that question, if you recall from my previous maybe 2 or 3 slides before I end the session, right? I mentioned that tools should not define your roles, right? So I'm going to give you a real scenario here, right? In the industry, you usually follows what your organization is comfortable with, right? And if you are in the industry of a chemical engineers, you might be able to encounter lots of demand to use chemical engineers software specifically, not really a Python, right? But if you are really going to be the driver agent of a change, right? So you might use Python because Python is a freeware, and it also has like supports from the community, right? There's lots of packages that can actually utilize in your organization for, let's say, to make a program, to make a program for your machine or even for your analytics and a lot more, right? If compared with MATLAB, I think MATLAB is a bit pricier. Not really pricier. It must be bought, right? There's no freeware of MATLAB around, right? That's why Python programming is very demanding, because at the end of the day, even company is trying to reduce costs, and one of the costs that they are considering is the software. Yeah, that's why Python programming is high demanding. If you are able to leverage on a freeware, so basically the organization already save a lot of costs.
Okay, hope that answered your question, Hussein. So we have two more questions here. Regarding the data stuff, we'll answer shortly. But that's a question from Chen Ping. He is asking on, can I have example of how CADS help the industry? And maybe can share some interesting example you guys had done before. Any of you gentlemen might want to answer that?
I can give you what I have done for cats, which I know that actually will help you in the future. Okay. So basically, cats, if you recall Marina's presentation before, cats have been helping multiple clients from multiple industries, right? Even from bankings, there's also factories. Yeah. So we help them by teaching them or upskill them with data skills, right? And then the upcoming months, we are also developing some platforms that is going to help you connect between professionals, data professionals, right? And chemical engineers are not excluded from this data professionals scope. Yeah. So that,
Yeah.
from my perspective, from what I have known, that is how cats have helped or will help you in the future.
Yeah.
And
And one of
others can,
sorry, Azhar.
maybe the others can also add on what cats have met.
Sorry. Okay. So one main thing perhaps is the of course the supply of talents as well for the industry. We are specializing in data professionals. All right. So is there any other questions that you guys want to ask? No? Yes? If not, then I shall proceed. I'll take just a little bit more time, for perhaps like 10 minutes of your time, for me to just share this one card. All right. So can you guys see my screen now? I hope you can. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay. So as mentioned, as mentioned earlier on by Marina as well as Azhar, just now talking about a platform where we want to gather the data professionals community locally and internationally. So we are developing a platform called Rubik. Okay. So again, put in mind, this is a data professional community, and I'm sure after all the talks by Azhar and Akmal earlier on, you are excited for what the future holds, right? For chemical engineers, as well as if you are keen into data literacy skills or data professionals career path, right? So we here in Rubik, we connect you with like-minded community. And here in Rubik, we have data literacy skills, resources, and relevant job for you guys to explore, right? So this is very much into the platform itself, where you can start your journey on data professionals. If you want to develop your skills in data literacy skills, you can come here in Rubik. So if you are in a second year or first year or even third year, you can start now. So you don't have to wait for you to graduate until you start learning Python or whatsoever that is just discussed earlier on. You can start right now and start familiarize yourself. Of course, the intensity of you trying on projects, it would be different because you have your assignments and whatsoever. But at least at this time, you have started to familiarize yourself with all different tools that you have in hand, because now you have the leverage of time. What I meant by that is that now you can try and error and you can just explore without the need of actually applying it yet. So by the time when you want to apply for a job, you already have a set of skills, or at least the information or knowledge on these tools or technical skills that we have been talking about since the very beginning, right? So basically what you're seeing here on screen is the flow or journey that you are going through if you were to be on Rubik. So you can verify skills competency. So verify skills competencies helps you to see where you are at, which level are you at. For example, if we were talking about R programming or Python, right? So you said, oh, I know R programming, or I am very well with Python, right? But here in Rubik, you can actually go and assess yourself and look which level are you at. Are you at 60% or 70%, which will be given by batch accordingly. And then you can see which area that you actually need to upskill yourself to fulfill that gap that the industry needs, okay? And there's a lot of new skills and new program and courses that we are planning and we are going to develop for Rubik. So there's a lot more. I'm just going to go very, very quick. So But I want you guys to understand this particular Rubik platform as a data professionals community that provides you with the resources for you to grow. Okay, and you can also get certified. Like mentioned earlier, it's not necessarily you need to be from data science master or degree, right? You can be from engineering background, but you can get certified here in the platform as well. So this particular certification is very much niche into data analyst, data engineer, which has different kind of expertise. Okay, and last but not least, get job matching. So this is pretty much it, where the companies are here on the platform as well. You, as much you grow and upskills yourself, they can see your growth there. Okay, and if it matches with whatever they need, the requirement that they want, then your profile will be pop out in their notifications. So if you want to, I'm sure if you, some of you are curious, started to be curious already, you can just jump straight away to sign up now at thecads.com/Rubik. The whole objective is to make or to provide more future-ready data professionals locally, especially. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is pretty much the portfolio or profile that you can see on your platform later on if you go on it. And the certification here is basically the sample of certification you will get once you complete the course of whatever is there on the platform. I'm not going to go into details. You can go and check it out, right? And here, as you can see, like I mentioned earlier on about the assessment, you can see your level. Which level are you at? And these can be seen by companies as well to see if you are good at certain skills that mentioned. Okay, Azhar did mention about this earlier on, so I'm just going to skip that part. Okay, and our certification at CADS, we are CPD approved by MBOT, Malaysian Board of Technologists, and international by Informs. You can go and check it out who they are and who are these people, as well as my learning path if you want to be on the platform and you just want to explore, right? And you want to go into data analysts or data engineers, for example. So we have a different learning path. It's not necessarily you come in and you need to take every courses that's available, but it depends on what you need and the demand that you are looking for. Okay, so this pretty much mentioned by Marina earlier on. Okay, and here is where the job matching job. So say, for example, you started now, be on the platform and you started to practice and start to go on projects and started to learn every single different skills. And by the time that you are looking for a job, even like the young professionals, some of you might have started some projects already, or some of you might already start working already, right? So capture all those documentations or data in our platform Rubik, where then the companies who are hiring for this particular position, they can find you. Okay, the more skills you have, the more chances for you to get hired in the future. Okay, so simple, short, there are 4 points that you need to remember about Rubik. So it's a networking platform, personal branding, build reputation, and verification and trust. Again, this is a data professional. So if you're talking about people coming in, they have this one mindset. It is a data professionals community. Then whomever that is on the platform, be it companies or be it individuals, they are looking for the same thing, that is a data professionals by skills, or they are looking for employees. They are speaking the same lingo, which is data professionals, right? Okay, so this is the data star program that we're talking about. The next cohort will be on July, and we are starting this year's cohort and next week, I think. Okay, so data stars, this is where the train and place program. I saw the question about when the placement started. For this particular program, you need to be graduated first. Because then after this program, you need to be placed, and we will assist and facilitate that part. Well, we'll help you to get placed in companies with a decent pay, hopefully. Okay, and you can start applying. You can go on dcads.com/datastar, or I think Sutyan will help me to put in the comment section there. If you have any other questions on Datastar, you can just type it down. Perhaps we can answer that. Okay, so it's only 2 to 3 months period of time where you just attend courses. There's only 3 tracks, and junior data scientist, data analyst, and data engineer. So you will go to these tracks according to the assessment that you will do. So we will specialize you into this track based on your strength and based on your interest. Okay, so check it out. I'm sure Sutyan will help you in the comment section. Some of our success cases, yes, but I would love to share with all of you. This is just for inspirational basis. Understanding that currently it's so hard to. I wouldn't say it's so hard because it's a evolving market for this industry, but one of our scholars, her first job, and she is a fresh graduate, she is at 11,000 ringgit Malaysia per month. So the reason why I'm sharing this is to inspire you and tell you that, hey, our local graduates have it and you have what it takes. You just need to be brave to take that step and start now, okay? This is our hiring partners. There's a lot more to the list, but this is few of it that we can share with all of you, the companies that have been working with us and they have been hiring for our data staff scholars as well, okay? And good news for all of you. If I'm going too fast, I hope you guys can catch up. All right, so these are some freebies for all of you. If you were to go on Rubik platform right now, you are going to have the access to Rubik platform for free. Okay, go on there, build your profile, start check around and what you can do. Okay, and then we will give you the big data analytics 101 post. It's only within 3 to 7 hours you can get your first certification from CADS, and that will be good on your portfolio. Okay, and we'll have 32 data literacy skills assessment. So this was what I mentioned earlier on, where you can take the assessment and check out how good you are and what else you can improve on that particular program. Okay, and then we'll also have free first attempt CADS certifications of 32 skills to boost your resume for better employability. So there's only one attempt for this one, free for the first timer trial, okay? And smart skill assessment to identify your personality style and soft skills strength. So this basically, smart skills will tell you different sorts of part of your personality to help you make better decisions in terms of what kind of career you want to pursue or what kind of activities that you want to proceed after your graduation, right? So simple as to sign up now, you can just go on thecads.com/Rubik. Suyan may help in the comment section to share with you the link, perhaps. Okay, you can create and complete your profile and take skills quiz to assess your current skill level and unlock certification feature, as well as get your personalized learning path immediately. All right, so there you go. Okay, so this is how you can contact us. If you have any questions at all, you can either connect with all of us who are here in the room through LinkedIn. You just type CADS, we are all there. Okay, or you can just go on our email info@thecads.com, as well as our website here, cads.ai. Okay. And this is another way that you can connect with us. All right, so I hope I didn't go too fast and I didn't see any. Okay, is there any questions that you guys have on this part? Did I go too fast?
You're pretty concise about it.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So if there's no question,
you guys can just ask anything you want. If you have anything that you're curious about CADS, or even about how about the webinar just now.
Yeah. So okay, someone asked about, will this recording be uploaded in Facebook? Oh wow.
Yes, it will. On our UMP Academy Facebook also, it will be recorded.
Right.
It will be posted as well, even past webinars.
Okay, so all right, I guess that will be it, I guess. Right. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate you staying till this time. And Hussein, thank you so much for hosting us. And I'm happy to moderate all of you. It's already 9,000 cases today. Stay safe, everyone. I hope that, especially you guys students, I understand how hard it is to be on ODL right now, because I'm currently a master's student as well. I know it's tough, but we got this. I hope you guys stay strong. Reach out if you need help, okay? And take care. Stay safe, everyone. Good night. And Hussein, back to you.
All right, sure. Thanks, Ms. Husna. And as well as Mr. Azhar, Mr. Akmal, and Ms. Marina for taking your time to give us an explanation about CADS and also how the IR 4.0 will digitalize almost everything in the future, and as well as how it will benefit our course, chemical engineering. For the participants, I would advise you not to leave first, because I will present a QR code for you guys to that will lead you to the checkout form. So to summarize tonight's webinar, basically we know that CADS can be a very useful tool or an asset for us, as well as other means of moving forward in the IR 4.0 phase. And I would agree heavily on the point where Mr. Azhar mentioned that the requirement is just a requirement. For example, because I'm going through most of us are third years going through the application of applying for internship placement for companies. And I realized that the requirements are just requirements. For you to have additional skill sets will be a plus point, and it will definitely help you guys to secure a slot or an internship placement with companies, because security is probably the being comfortable. We will want to feel secure. We don't want to keep thinking about it. It's not you don't want to feel like you're not secure. You'll be scared of the future because you don't have any security. So thank you again, CADS, for tonight's webinar.